Hello, my name is Anthony Furden, and I'm going to walk you through one of the mechanics that I got time to talk about, which will be the combat that we have in the game. So, starting off with picking up the first weapon, which is the dagger. Very simple, we just have a sphere collision that when the player walks into it, makes sure that the player has the BPI interact, just so that it's an easy way to not get a reference to anything, and the player is going to have it, so he'll always pick it up. Then we call our pickup weapon, which is part of our BPI interact interface, and the weapon data that it gets is set to sword. The weapon data is just a primary data asset that holds variables for me that can be interchanged for depending on the weapon that the player will be picking up. So just the name, the damage, the icon that will be shown on our widget HUD, the static mesh that will be given to the player, which is the sword, and then the socket that the sword will be connected to so that it's placed in the player's hand. Then we just play our sound, and then we destroy the actor because once they pick it up, we don't need it anymore. So we'll go ahead and head over to the player and take a look at pickup weapon. Here we go. So here is that event that's being called. We're setting weapon to be equipped because our combat checks before the player can attack to make sure that the weapon is equipped. I believe that is in our combat component, which is a part of the player. We'll head over there real quick and just take a look. Here we go. So here we're making sure is attack is set to false, and if it is, it's true, and then we'll set it to true here, and then set that combo coming if the player hits the input again on one of these begin notify. Then we check, does the player have stamina to attack, and is that weapon equipped? If it is, if all these are true, we'll attack. On the notify, we'll check, is attack is true, and is combo true. If the player did not hit the left click again before this notify, we would just set combo to false. We would stop increasing or decreasing our stamina. If we go back to the character here this is where we're setting our static mesh based off that weapon data that we saw earlier. We attach it to the socket on the mesh, and then we set that slot on the widget. Then we have our death if the player dies. It's just a simple event that disables the movement and ragdolls it. Here on our damage, if the player is dodging in our game, they cannot take damage. So if this is set to true, makes it false, and then nothing happens. If they are not dodging, then that will be set to true. We are using a negative number to multiply to decrease health. We play a montage of a hit react, so the player does react when they get hit. And if they get hit, we don't want them to be able to move for just a second. So during that, we stop them from moving, and once it's complete, we start moving them again. Let's take a look at our combat component real quick to look at more of the, let's take a look at the target lock here. So in combat, that is a very important thing. When they push the input, have we got a target actor yet? Which we will get once we get further down the line. So let's say we do not. So that means we do our sphere trace. We set that actor to the one that we got. We change the movement so that the player moves left and right, or rotating around the target lock actor. We bring the widget onto the target lock actor transform, and then we attach that to that actor so that it stays on that actor. If the actor has died, we push the input again. We already had a target actor, so now it is valid, so we go ahead and set that target actor to nothing. Set the controls back to normal, so we're not rotating around that target actor widget, and then we destroy the widget, and it's no longer on the screen. For the sword, It is handled by 2 arrows, one at the tip of the sword, one at the base of the sword. When the player attacks, we do this timer by event, which then calls a sphere trace going from the tip to the bottom of the sword using those arrows as the location. And then once, every time that they swing, we apply damage to that hit actor. We play a sound at the location that we hit, which is the sword clank, and then we delay for 3 seconds and reset the do once so that the player can attack again. To end it, we just stop that timer so that this no longer runs. So now we lose the sphere trace and we're no longer attacking. So that is all the time I have to talk about my mechanics as I said so far. So thank you for watching and goodbye.